Hey, what's going on, y'all? It is getting kind of dark and it's a little bit chilly, but it's a beautiful enough day that I just had to get outside. Wanted to shoot my bow a little bit. It's been a while. I'm kind of rusty. But today, I want to look at this target. This is a new to me target. I think it's pretty new in general. I think it was announced in late 21 and it's just now shipping in spring 22. But this is by McKenzie and it is called the Big 8 XL. So they have a regular Big 8 that I think is a 16, and then this Big 8 is a 20-inch target. So when they say a 20-inch target, they mean here to here. Because this is an octagon target, hence the name Big 8, if you were to compare it to a regular 16-inch square or 20-inch square, no, that's not apples to apples the exact same. So that's why I looked at the larger one, the Big 8 XL, the 20-inch, not the regular Big 8, the 16. Another advantage to the XL is it has a replaceable core. And this is all that really, really heavy-duty ASA foam, not the kind of crumbly, grainy stuff, but the really, really dense foam.
All right, let's go through the specs from the manufacturer. So again, this is the McKenzie Big 8, the XL model. Innovative asymmetric hexagon shape with 8 shootable sides. Yep, hard to argue that one. Available in 20 inches wide. Yes, that is the XL model. I think the regular model is 16 inches wide. High density urethane foam construction. Lasts 8 times longer versus conventional layered targets. I have no way to prove that, but based on how this thing held up and how dense it is, I believe that's probably pretty accurate. Easy to pull, specially formulated for easy arrow removal. Yeah, I'd say it's fairly easy compared to some of the other stuff of this quality, of this density. Broadhead approved, so I will get to that with fixed and mechanicals in just a second, but the short version is yes. Replaceable core, I think that's actually really cool. And note that the regular model I don't think has a replaceable core. I think you have to move up to the XL to get that. Molded in side carry handles, kind of mentioned that, so some people think this is an advantage, some people, it's not, because it means you have to have 2 hands to carry it, so whichever way you prefer. 2-tone high visibility green and white target spots. Yeah, the colors are good. They're highly visible, painted on sight face. That's kind of a problem. The paint on this was not durable. For use with all vertical bows and crossbows, again, I'll get to that with the crossbow, but this thing proved to be rock solid, very reliable. And lastly, made in USA. I think that's really cool. There's so many archery products, not just targets, but everything related to archery is now coming in from overseas. So quality American-made products, I think it's worth paying a little bit extra for. That's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary, but I think it's cool. All right, back to the rest of the review.
So if you shoot out the core on this one, you can actually order a new core from McKenzie and they'll ship it to you. So cool advantage of an 8-sided target in general is there's a lot of surface area to shoot. I have a target that's, well, you can even see over here. Here's an older ball style target. These are cool, but the second you hit them, they roll all over the place versus something like this that you can still shoot all these different targets, but it's not gonna roll as much on you. Yeah, if you shoot it like this, and right now we're looking downhill, still can kind of roll on you. And each time you only get one target face, you don't actually get to shoot at both. So this is all one big, I guess 2, because the core, 2 separate molded pieces of foam. The paint on here, this yellow chartreuse color, especially in this kind of twilight, dim light, looks really, really good. The white looks good too, but it seems like it's already coming off, and this is brand new. This paint, well, it's kind of coming off too. I don't know. So the paint may be a little bit questionable, but I mean, any target, the paint's gonna come off at some point. And all these different faces are cool. Now, a lot of these, me being a hunter, this isn't particularly valuable to me. An 8-up tiny target, it's not that useful. I'm probably just gonna go for the big face the majority of the time. I think most of you probably are as well. But there's some people who probably really appreciate this kind of stuff. So that's the target, just a good general look at it. In terms of the handles, This is also nice that the handles are molded in instead of a rope or string that can pull out, or if you're practicing with broadheads, you're just taking long shots lobbing at it. I've actually sliced that rope. I've also left targets out here and other places and had that rope chewed on by like rats or mice or something. So there's something to be said for not having any sort of rope coming out of it. That's a molded in handle that really can't fail. The only problem is it means this is two-handed. There's no way that you can hold your bow in one hand, hold the target in your other, and walk down range. You pretty much have to carry this two-handed. Maybe that's a big deal to you, maybe not, but just interesting. Super durable, but two-hand use for sure. Just because I know people are going to ask, I want to make sure and show all the different sides here. So that's what the face looks like on the large octagon side. On the other octagon, that's what it looks like. Lots of tiny targets. And then let's look at all 8 sides here. So one big in the middle with 2 side targets. That's that 8 up I talked about earlier. We got that same thing again, which is cool because I actually appreciate that they have the same design in a couple places, because if you wear one out, you don't lose it entirely. That's the problem with some of the cubes, is if there's one face you shoot all the time, you wear it out, it's done, now you have an alternate. That one we have a 2 up. I'll probably use that a lot. That one, that's the one where the paint's already coming off. Didn't hold up too well, but I really like the design. If you're just trying to tune broadheads or tune a rest, or just really check the alignment of your bow, or check the second or third axis, that's going to be really nice. Just make sure your target's level if you're going to do that. Then we've got that double up again, and now we're back around. So that's what all the faces look like. Make sure to pick up my trash here, of course. So Delta McKenzie lists the MSRP as $199 for the XL, and I think $169 for the smaller one. So we'll see what that actually means in store. I'm guessing that probably means, I don't know, $159 and $179, something like that. So not a cheap target, not the most expensive, but definitely up there still. But I couldn't possibly do a target review video without shooting it to see how it holds up. And one big advantage of these foam targets versus a bag target is you can fling your broadheads at it too. So on a shared range like this, normally you would never use broadheads, but because I'm bringing my own target and beating up my own target, I'm going to use them today. But just a reminder, always be careful if you're using broadheads. Don't ever shoot your broadheads at somebody else's target. So field points, I'm going to run some broadheads all through my Hoyt Helix. That's kind of my go-to hunting bow. And then I'm going to throw a couple through the 10-point Nitro X. Incredibly powerful crossbow, and we're just going to see what kind of damage the crossbow does to this thing. Well, so as I said, it looks like I'm a little bit rusty. Been a while since season. Looks like I'm shooting pretty consistently, just a tiny bit low right-ish. But what's nice is this thing is just really soaking it up. I think if you were watching the last clip, you'll notice that the target really didn't budge at all. Let's see what kind of penetration we get. So, about like that. I think my hand slipped a little bit. I think that fleck is about where it is. So, man, these are 28 or 29 inch arrows, and it only went in, man, 7 inches or so. Yeah, right there. So that one actually closer to the edge, it seems like it didn't go in quite as much. In the middle, in the core, well, no, that's about the same. Pretty consistent. So yeah, this thing really stops it. And some of these targets, this other ASA foam type of stuff, where it's soft in the middle, it's easy to get an arrow out of, but when you get an arrow jammed in deep in here, man, that can be a pain to pull your arrows out. And this really isn't that bad. It's better than I expected, because it's kind of a trade-off. Usually you have foam that's really dense and really tough, or foam that's really easy to get your arrows out of, and this seems to be a good compromise between them. And you'll notice that paint is coming off pretty quickly. But, I mean, you see I can even scratch it off. So, maybe this is just an early production model. Yeah, look at that. So, not good on the painting, but the actual foam material is excellent. But if that's really a big deal to you, I guess you could put a new target face on there, paint it however the heck you want. So I'm shooting just shy of 70 pounds. It's a 70-pound bow, and I think I'm probably 67, 68, somewhere in there, 28.5-inch draw. So pretty average to probably, hopefully that's close to what you are. I mean, it's pretty average in terms of most American bow hunters. But those are all field points. So let's see how this thing does when I throw a mean, nasty-looking broadhead at it. So I'm gonna throw a couple different heads at it just to see kind of how it takes it, a wide variety. So from left to right, this is the Titanium X 4-blade. Crazy, crazy design. It's a mechanical that flies really well. Typically, in my experience, it doesn't penetrate extremely well, but with 4 blades, it cuts like crazy. It's like a double rage. This is the Titanium X 3-blade, so it's similar to the old Rocky Mountain Titanium 100. Fantastic little broadhead for just punching through. I would say it's kind of similar concept to like a Muzzy, but a bit better. This is the old NAP, what is this? Sling blade, I think? No, Kill Zone. This is the NAP Kill Zone. A lot of people are familiar with that. Slides back, opens up really big. And then this mean joker is what I'm now using for pigs and elk. So it's the Magnus Stinger, but the buzz cut edition with the serrated blades that can really tear stuff up. So I'm just gonna shoot one of each at that target and see what happens. I shot the first two at the center target before realizing, I might be chopping up my own arrows here. But fortunately, I kind of suck right now, so I did it. So I think I shot them in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, because I moved to this top target, but I was still hitting a little bit low with all of them. So this is our first one. So just from penetration, just looking at our veins, these two penetrated the best, which makes sense actually, because they're both fixed blades. Then this one, and then this one, they're so close, but in terms of penetration, so most penetration was this guy, the Titanium 3-blade, and it penetrated a little bit more than our field points did, and yeah, it took off more paint, but not too bad. So next one here, this looks like our NAP. Soaked it up pretty good. What's nice is it heals up very well. Like, it's not crumbly like some other targets. So it's the NAP. This one would be the Titanium X 4-blade. So that one penetrated the least, like right there, but barely. So any target like this, just like a game animal, a mechanical is not going to penetrate nearly as deeply as a fixed blade would. Some people love mechanicals. I like fixed blades. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. Then the Magnus, that this thing just tears stuff up, penetrated about the same, actually slightly worse than that Titanium 3-blade. That penetrated the best, but this is a 4-blade, so kind of makes sense. 3-blade's gonna punch through. There's fewer blades, and it doesn't have all these serrations and stuff. But we're not really analyzing the broadheads here as much as we're just looking at the target and looking at the damage on target. So yeah, there's big cuts in here, but it healed up really, really well. Yeah, the paint still kind of sucks, but the actual foam is fantastic. And all these shots are all at 20 yards. Obviously, if I was doing a video just showing my practicing and stuff, I'm not only going to practice at 20 yards, but that's where I know I can hit or be close to hitting those spots on the target. And up close is where the arrows are going to have the most energy and show the most abuse. So we did field points, we did a wide collection of fixed and mechanicals. Now this mamma jamma. the 10-point Nitro X reverse draw. This thing is a very, very powerful crossbow. It's like scary fast. So I'm gonna go throw the camera down range, take a shot or two with the crossbow, just because we are really chasing last light. But what's cool about this 10-point with the reverse limbs is once that thing's cocked back and it has so much energy stored in there, those limbs are like 6 or 7 inches wide. Like it's like you're holding a rifle. That thing is so slim. But obviously these big compound limbs, there is a lot of power there. And it sounds like a rifle shot. There's so much power. So let's go check it out on target. Alrighty. So obviously you can see we buried these things pretty deep. That Hoyt shooting 67 pounds, I'm probably like 290. I don't know, maybe 280, somewhere in there in terms of speed. This crossbow is probably closer to 400. I think it's rated over 4. So I got that much penetration with the crossbow bolt. So remember, this is a 20-inch target across. I got that far. So that's probably, I don't know, 11 inches of penetration. Something like that. But you'll notice the target's dense enough. It didn't move. It didn't budge. It didn't roll around. It took it like a champ. Again, we're still seeing that same paint issue. But man, it soaked up the energy of this really, really scary fast crossbow bolt. My recommendation would be, if you're going to use a foam target like this one, or really any foam target for crossbow bolts, definitely have a bolt puller with you, so you can just get a good grip on it and pull it straight out. You won't mess up your bolts. So that is the Big 8 XL from Delta McKenzie. I hope you found this interesting. If you're considering this target, hopefully you learned a lot. The material is super tough. The paint has some issues. It takes field points. It can stand up to the abuse of a crossbow, and you can shoot broadheads at it, fixed blades or mechanicals. So if you're considering this, hopefully you found it helpful. The price, about right where I would expect, especially for a made in America foam target like this. I think this one will last for years, but you'll probably need to repaint it, I don't know, maybe every year, every season, something like that. Hope you found it helpful. Pretty cool to have tough targets like this. Until next time, stay safe, be free, and never stop seeking adventure.